very excited today to have Ambassador of Turkey today with us. I want to remind everybody two things before we start. One is we're on the record, so just want to everybody knows that. And second, we'll jump to the with Ambassador for the first 20 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes will take questions. So please start sending your questions in, and then we'll jump into your questions exactly when 20 minutes hit the mark. So I'm hoping everybody's great and staying safe. And Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us, and Happy New Year. I'm so glad to have the Ambassador join us. You are our first woman ambassador joining us, so this is very interesting. We're very honored to have you.
Well, thank you very much, dear Yannick. It's also good to see you. I have to say it's been quite a long time that we're not seeing each other. So even if through this webinar, it's nice to see you again. I thank you very much, and good morning to those joining us from US and Canada, and good evening from those joining us in Rwanda. Of course, we're coming to evening now here. And it's my pleasure to join you. I thank you so much for the invitation. And I have to say that, you know, it's my privilege and honor to be the first ambassador to join you in 2021. So I hope that it's going to be a fruitful conversation for everybody. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador. I also just want to welcome the University of Rwanda in Turkey. They are also joining us. Thank you guys for being here. Ambassador, let me start a little bit on the continent, the big picture. 2015 was declared as the year of Africa by the Turkish government at that time, and Turkey was according and observed statute by the African Union the same year. And in 2008, as a strategic partner of the continent by African Union. So my question is, what does the cooperation and partnership between Africa and Turkey look today since 2005 and 2008?
Oh, yes, there's a big change, of course, dear Yannick, because, you know, when I was a junior officer during my initial days in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, you know, we just had 6 embassies throughout the whole continent in sub-Saharan Africa, I mean, not in North Africa. And then in 1998, I was again a junior officer working in Latin America desk. And at that time, we were discussing how to open up to distant geographical regions, but distant in terms of geography, but definitely close to our hearts. Latin America was one destination, and Africa was another destination. Asia was the third destination. Of course, with Asia, we had traditionally some kind of closer kind of relationship, but with Africa and Latin America, we really wanted to improve our relationship in an opening strategy. But at that time, of course, it was called opening, and in the meantime, as years passed by, it became first strategic partnership or observer status in the African Union when we particularly, you know, focus in Africa, and then it became a strategic partnership with Africa. We focused on several issues. The first was to increase our presence in the continent, dear Yannick. So we extended our diplomatic network. In 2002, 2003, it was just, you know, 6-8 embassies throughout the continent. And now in 2021, we are 42 embassies, and 3 embassies will be opened very soon, hopefully this year, if COVID allows us, of course. I'm a bit cautious about that, but we increased our presence in the continent to a great extent. We're now everywhere in Africa in terms of the embassies, Turkish missions. Also, Turkish Airlines is now flying to 40 countries, 60 destinations throughout the country, throughout the continent. So I think they are the second largest, you know, airlines operating after Ethiopian Airlines in the continent. And also, we have Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency in 22 country offices. And also we have Turkish Marif Foundation working in schools area. We have Yunus Emre Cultural Institute working in cultural area. So we have different, not only embassies, but different actors are also showing more interest now into Africa. So we increased our presence. And second, we increased or enriched our relations. The first priority was, of course, economics and trade, investments. And second priority was to contribute to the development of Africa and also enhance closer relations from people to people, from heart to heart. And I think we have managed good progress in all of these areas. And only in terms of, economic and investments, I can say that in 2003, we have 5 billion trade volume with Africa, and now it's 25 billion. So five-fold kinds of, increase in our trade with Africa. And also in terms of investments, we are now, I think, it was like 6 billion last year at the end of 2019, and 6 billion USD. And also when you look at the Turkish contractors, the total volume that Turkish contractors assumed throughout the continent, I think the total value is now 70 billion USD. But of course, it's not only trade and investments, but also we have a lot of schools. Turkish Mark Foundation opened a lot of schools throughout the continent, and also we are cooperating in international organizations. Turkey is one of the ardent supporters of LDCs in all platforms, including African countries. I think we now have a frank and sincere cooperation based on mutual respect and partnership, which is based on mutual interests. So we're not trying to impose anything on Africa. We try to determine our agenda together with our African partners. And I think that this is the fact that, brings us some added value when we compare with the other development partners or other cooperation partners with Africa.
There's a lot of elements to touch on. I wish you had more time to touch because I have a lot of questions. But one thing I want to touch on is you just mentioned the add value, which is interesting. But I want to touch something that happened. That there was Turkish African Partnership Summits.
Oh yes.
And yes. Very fascinating because there was an important platform where you have the leaders on the continent exchange views and the Turkish government what the values they add on the partnership. So what are the goals of these summits and when is the next one happening?
Yes. Thank you, Yannick. We had 2 summits so far. The first one in 2008 and the last one was 2014. And hopefully we want to organize the third one this year if COVID pandemic allows us, of course. We are now discussing the dates with the African Union Secretariat, definitely. So there is a big discussion now going on because we know that, COVID pandemic is putting some strains on the schedule of, meetings or high-level summits within African Union. We are organizing these summits together with our African Union partners, dear Yannick. So these are not standalone summits, but these are organized with the African Union, inserted in the schedule of the African Union. And we are also trying to determine the agenda of these summits with our partners in a way to ensure that we meet the expectations of our partners. And these summits serve for, of course, a good roadmap for the next, a couple of years ahead of us, both on the side of our African, partners and also for Turkish institutions. And so far, we have prepared all our, documents and our proposals for the third summit, and we're very much now looking forward to make it happen.
I want to touch something you mentioned. What are sectors? I mean, looking Turkey is very successful in so many sectors, but what are sectors that the continent can learn from Turkey in terms of how to achieve this sector?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, of course. I mean, for Turkey, definitely, construction. When we look at, trade and economic relations, definitely it's construction, it's infrastructure building, it's skills building, trainings, definitely, and also health, also transportation, also logistics, also manufacturing in different areas. So our aim is to contribute also job creation and skills building in Africa. So that, this cooperation will yield results in a win-win, basis. So these are the advantages, sectors that Turkish business people are investing in Africa, but also we definitely, you know, continue our support for our African partners in different platforms like UN, like OECD, like, you know, G20. You know, I served in different, you know, organizations in the UN, in the OECD, in the G20 platform, and I can assure you that, you know, this partnership is also continuing in multinational fora, not a bilateral cooperation only.
So let's now come back a little bit to Rwanda. What are the areas of cooperation between the two countries, and what's the relationship look like today?
I think we're enjoying close and, you know, friendly relations with Rwanda, and I have to say that I'm very much honored to serve in Rwanda because, you know, Rwanda proved the world that change is possible, and I'm happy to observe this change through my own eyes. Even within these 2 years, I can say that there is a drastic change. You know, I can observe, and I'm very much honored. Our embassy here is relatively new. We opened the embassy at the end of 2014, but our relations are not new. Definitely. So we have been trying to increase our cooperation in different areas. Political, of course, comes the first. We opened our embassy, we increased our presence here, but also we try to increase our relations in every field. In trade and economics comes in the first place, but also education, people-to-people contact, training, skill building, job opportunities, and education, of course, is one of the most important components, and also collaboration and cooperation in international fora comes also on the agenda. For the trade and economic relations, I can proudly say that even during the pandemic time, we doubled our, you know, trade with Rwanda last year in 2019. Though there is a long way to go, I have to accept, because, you know, Rwanda is also trying to increase its trade partners, and Turkey is also trying to increase its partners in East Africa, and Rwanda is one of the most important countries in our, you know, strategic plans. And in terms of investments, I'm also very proud that Turkish contractors contributed a lot in the infrastructure building of Rwanda. This, you know, landmark buildings like Kigali Convention Center, Kigali Arena, they're all, you know, undertaken by Turkish constructors, which we're very proud of. And also not only in terms of the buildings itself, but these buildings are serving for a purpose. And thanks to the infrastructure which is provided by these, you know, landmark buildings, Rwanda is attracting more tourists. Rwanda is now convening more international conferences. I'm glad that these are not in vain. These are serving for a purpose. And also in the coming, you know, in the coming period, we're also trying to increase our investments in manufacturing. We have this African Continental Free Trade Area, which gives us a very good opportunity to use Rwanda's business-friendly environment to make investments in Rwanda, to produce in Rwanda, but to sell, you know, different markets in the continent, not only in the region but also in the continent. So we try to get use of these, you know, advantages that Rwanda is now presenting. And I can also happily say that not only in trade and economics and physical infrastructure, Turkey is also trying to contribute in the skill building, in the trainings, and these trainings are not limited to you know, opening a school perspective. Yes, Turkish Maarif Foundation is planning to open a school in Rwanda, which is going to focus in Tibet education, hopefully, and the dialogue, the talks between Rwanda Ministry of Education and the Maarif Foundation is now still ongoing, but the prospect is already there, and both sides have already agreed that this Tibet school will be important. But also we are providing trainings for police, for diplomats, for military, for different, you know, areas that you know, our institutions are interested in. So I can say that, you know, our relations are flourishing very, very quickly. We have signed a lot of agreements, and now we're dealing with the implementation of these agreements. And soon, in case we can ensure a high-level visit, which I'm crossing my fingers very soon.
I was going to ask you, yes. I was going to ask you, like, what is coming, right? Yes.
Yes. That's in my agenda. You know, that's one thing that I want to make sure before I complete my duties here.
Yeah.
Of course, that will give a very good impetus to our relations, and I feel so sorry that so far we couldn't achieve this, but I can ensure, I can guarantee that there is willingness on both sides. It's a matter of scheduling.
Yeah.
It's a matter of scheduling. And hopefully, in case we can ensure this, you know, third Africa-Turkey summit in Istanbul this year, hopefully this will be a good opportunity. But again, you know, bilateral high visits are continuing at the technical level. The ministries of foreign affairs, we have different, you know, heads of institutions paying, you know, visits to each other. So the contact is already there. What we need to do is definitely to increase people-to-people contacts. For education, this is an ongoing process, which is nice. But I want to increase knowledge about Turkey and Rwanda, and knowledge about Rwanda in Turkey. So that's going to be another, you know, interesting project. And I'm trying to increase nowadays the contacts between our media institutions, so that they can share experiences, but also they can share some news regarding the country, regarding the region. So that's going to give another perspective to our you know, cooperation. Turkey is known very little in Rwanda, unfortunately, and Rwanda is very little known in Turkey. But everybody knows in Turkey what has happened, you know, in 1994. We followed it very closely. I'm so sorry that most of the people in Turkey are not aware of the fact that after 26 years, Rwanda is not the same Rwanda. Yeah. That's why we need to talk more about this progress, about the level of the country, the social and economic development of this country, the life and the beauty of the country, the security, stability. You know, there are a lot of, you know, news stories that we need to tell in Turkey about Rwanda.
So before I touch a little bit on what we can learn, because you just touched about Rwanda moving from 1994 to what has achieved in the last 26 years, 27 years now. Before I touch on that, let's a little bit talk about COVID. What lesson can we learn from COVID-19 crisis, this pandemic happening now? And also, is there anything the embassy is doing to help with COVID, or even actually Turkey in general overall around the world?
Yes, I think COVID-19 was an unexpected challenge, and it was a big challenge for everybody. And I think it taught all of us that the world is interconnected. So you're not safe in your own borders as long as all people in their own borders are safe. So it necessitated more international cooperation and collaboration. And I'm glad that, you know, Rwanda is coping very well with so far about this challenge. And Rwanda is one of the most successful countries in terms of taking precautions, taking measures against COVID. And I feel quite safe, to be frank, here, even if now we're total lockdown for 2 weeks. But, you know, everybody is complying very well. Turkey also is trying to ensure that, you know, COVID pandemic does not, you know, poses a big challenge to the daily lives of the people, but at the same time taking appropriate measures to find, you know, or to provide enough security for its own people. And during this pandemic, we try to also cooperate with our partners, and we have sent, you know, as much as we can, of course, maybe not everybody at a desired level, but we try to extend our hand to everywhere in all continents, regardless of, you know, how distant they are. And with Rwanda, we also sent in June, if I'm not mistaken, yes, June, we sent some protective, equipment and masks in order to contribute the RBC's, fight against COVID. And we also assisted Rwanda in evacuating its citizens who are stranded in Turkey, as we are evacuating our citizens stranded in Rwanda. So we try to increase our collaboration and cooperation in these difficult times with partners like Rwanda and all around the world. And I'm also glad that, this pandemic taught everybody that you have to enrich your partners. You have to increase your partners. You cannot just, rely on one partner. You have to have as many partners, as many friends as possible, because you really don't know how to ensure, this chain in terms of supply and, in terms of ensuring your daily life. And I think, Turkey has becoming one of the new, markets for also Rwanda. So this relationship is not just Turkey's interest in Rwanda, but also Rwanda is showing now more interest to cooperate with Turkey. So these are the difficult times, but they're also teaching us, or showing us more opportunities.
I see. So I see there's already questions from the audience, but before I take the questions, I want to ask you this before we open for questions and answers from the audience. You mentioned a little bit with this. I want to touch it again. Looking at what Rwanda has achieved in the last 26 years, 27 years, what lesson the world can learn from Rwanda, you think?
Definitely, I can say that if you are not hostage to your past, there is nothing you cannot achieve. This is what Rwanda proved to the whole world. So if Rwanda had started what has happened in 1994, I think we would never witness a Rwanda as such today. So what I learned from Rwanda myself is patience, determinance. And in case a good and strong visionary leadership is combined with the devotion of the people, you can achieve everything. So Rwanda is an exemplary, showing exemplary progress in this regard. And I think proving everybody in the world that everything is doable, everything is achievable. The only thing you can do is to believe in and to work for it. Without getting tired, of course. And Rwanda is, I think, in that respect, a very, very distinct, very unique country. And I'm really very much honored to work in this country. It's my first time in Africa, and it's my first. But it's my first time in Africa to serve in Africa, and I feel myself very lucky and very privileged that I have started from Rwanda. I thank you so much.
It's a good place to start as an ambassador in Africa.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so ambassador, I would love to take the question from the audience. I see a couple of questions already coming in. Let's take the first questions. First question comes from. The first questions come from James, Dr. James from the University of Rwanda. Ambassador,
yes.
That's what was like Turkey transformation from the Ottoman Empire to the modern Turkey of today. What were the challenges or opportunities leaders at that time were facing?
Oh, that's a very good question, because I see many parallels between the transformation that Turkey has experienced at that time and the transformation that Rwanda is, experiencing this time. We all started from scratch. Yes, of course, modern Turkish Republic had the background of, some 6 centuries, legacy of the Ottoman Empire. We had institutions, we had everything, we had people, but, we were devastated with the big wars, and after the First World War, when modern Turkey was established at that time, really we had nothing. We had nothing in terms of, infrastructure. We had nothing left in terms of skills. We have nothing left in terms of, economic situation. So we all started from the scratch. But what we aimed at that time was to turn our face to civilization to the highest standards available at that time, which was Europe. And still, you know, we are continuing our journey in this direction. We are trying to achieve the best for our people. We are trying to transform our people, transform our country into a democracy, into a country where human rights are, you know, restored and protected, a decent and sustainable life for each and every citizens. This is an ongoing journey. And I'm very proud that, you know, we use the legacy of the Ottoman Empire at the best, at the best possible. And we build on our progress with our good legacy, but we built most of the things from scratch. So when you compare the Ottoman Empire, the structure, it was a multinational empire. Now we have a modern nation state. Our country, Turkey, is only the secular Muslim state in the world. And we are very proud that we have very good relations with all our, you know, partners. And also we have our deep roots in Asia, maybe, but we have also a strong place in Europe. There are some discussions going on, definitely, whether Turkey is now changing its direction or not. You know, these are all some questions that people are asking to me and to all of the, you know, diplomats everywhere. But we are everywhere, dear Yannick. Our region is a unique region. So when I say that, you know, we are European, we are Asian, we are Middle Eastern, we are Balkan, we are the Caucasus, we are everywhere, and we have some legacy from all these regions in our blood and in our culture. So it's our responsibility to be everywhere. And this transformation process was painful but successful. And I can say that, you know, Rwanda transformation process is also very similar. Maybe Rwanda doesn't have enough natural resources like Turkey, but Rwanda has people, it's human resources, again, like Turkey. And I'm very sure that with this, you know, path that Rwanda is pursuing for the time being, I'm sure Rwanda will get the place that it deserves in a very short span of time. It's not going to be too long.
Yeah. You just mentioned, I never thought about that, you know, being you're Asia, European, the Burcu. There's so many Middle East same time, which is fascinating, amazing, the culture. Now it makes sense why your food is great. But anyway, back.
but that's true.
Yeah, it's like, it's all these spices elements, amazing. But let's
that's true. It's a mixture.
Yeah, makes sense. Yes, the next question is from Habimana from K Lab. What are key factors or secrets that contributed to the Turkish success in the last 10, 15 years?
Well, I again thank you for this question. And I think in the past 10, 15 years, we have
economically. So sorry, he mean economically. Sorry.
Economically, yes, of course. But everything, economic and politics, goes hands in hands, dear Yannick. So you cannot separate them all. Any economic performance is depending on political stability and business-friendly environment. And that's what we have tried to achieve, you know, in the past 10, 15 years in Turkey. When I was serving at the OECD, I served at the OECD, Turkish Permanent Delegation to the OECD, for 4 years, between 2006 and 2010, when Turkish economy was shown as one of the most successful in the OECD member countries. And what lied behind our success was, the first was, of course, political stability and strong leadership. Economy needs confidence, and that was high confidence at that time, and still there is high confidence in Turkish economy. But second, reforms, in order to make your economy more resilient and to attract more foreign direct investments, more funds to your economy. And Turkey tried to pursue this with being stick to the rule of law, being stick to the competition, transparency, and also its young population, its dynamic structure, and the vast opportunities that it has presented to the investors. And I think this is the main, factors behind our economic progress in the past 10, 15 years.
So we are over time. Ambassador, can we take 2 more questions? I know we're over time already, but
no, I'm fine. I'm fine with the time. As long as our participants are not complaining about, this, I'm fine. Yeah, of course. Good. 2 more questions.
So we'll take another question, please. All right. The next question is from Jenna from Access Bank. What is the importance of multilateralism in your point of view?
Sorry, can I get the question again?
Yes. What's important of multilateralism, like the United Nations or World Health Organization? What is important for multilateralism?
Multilateralism, yes. Multilateralism is important, dear Yannick, and in my career, I think I spent most of my career working in multilateral organizations. The first was NATO, the second was UN Vienna, the third was the OECD. What I have learned from all these experiences, and again in my diplomatic career, is that in this world you have to cooperate, you have to exist with your partners, and you cannot act alone in anything. Actually, you are with your neighbors, you are with your partners, you are with other states all around the world. And these multilateral platforms, I think, are providing us good opportunities, first of all, to explore more cooperation and collaboration with your partners, and second, to learn from the best practices. And that's why, in case you try to defend your interests in a multilateral, context, in a multilateral environment, they're more sustainable because you get everybody on board. And I think Rwanda is also working in the same direction. Rwanda is trying to increase its friends. And I can happily say that Rwanda is party to many regional and continental and, global international organizations. And Rwanda is very active in most of these platforms. And Rwanda is also trying to act in a multilateral spirit of cooperation. So I think we are also, again, sharing the same spirits in that respect.
Yes. All right, so the last question, please, is from Emily, African Leadership University. Ambassador, please, could you talk about the scholarship for students to study in Turkey?
Oh, thank you very much. This is something that I'm trying to promote more, dear Yannick, because this year, unfortunately, because of COVID, not everybody is attending regularly to the classes. We are, of course, sharing our announcements with many universities about Turkish scholarship, but I'm not so sure that they are reaching the intended audience. So this year, I'm trying to use more social media and also some internet platforms in order to make this possibility, this Turkish scholarship applications in a more broader context. The applications have started. Turkey is providing full scholarship to undergraduate and graduate students to study in Turkey, and so far I can say that more than 200 Rwandan students have benefited from this opportunity. And this year the application started in January and they're going to end at the 20th of February. So we still have a couple of days to go. And of course, the applications is done only on online, so the embassy is not involved in the application process, but the candidates should apply online. We have shared all details in our social media accounts, so anybody having specific questions about Turkish scholarships can get in touch with me also directly. I will be very happy to help, but I can say that all applications are done online, and those who are accepted will be first, an initial selection process will be conducted in Turkey, and then for the shortlisted candidates, there will be an interview at the embassy, and finally, the selected candidates will be having their studies in Turkey, so their placements in the schools will be handled also by the scholarship providers. So you're just going to make selections, and then you will be granted a full scholarship, including 1 year Turkish, language study, and then the academic, education that you're going to get in the selected university of your choice. So all these will be handled by the scholarship providers, and the provider is the presidency of Turkey, which is the Turks living abroad presidency. So this is, I think, all I can share. But of course, I know that apart from the Turkish scholarships, there are also a lot of Rwandan students who want to study in Turkey in different universities, also in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. And they're also, of course, most welcome. And I have to say that we do not work as with an agency in all these, organizations. I have to warn all these, students who want to study in Turkey that there are no agencies facilitating this process. So I invite all Rwandan students who are interested in studying Turkey to get in touch with the universities directly and do their applications themselves personally. There might be some, misunderstandings, or there might be some agencies that could mislead the students. I really do not want to cause such kind of, inconveniences. In case they want to ask something, I invite everybody to get in touch with the email of our embassy, which is embassy.kigali@mfa.gov.tr. And it's already taking place, existing in our website and also in our social media accounts. They can get in touch with us directly, and we will be happy to assist.
Excellent. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time. It's so good to have you. We learned so much about the work you do in Rwanda and Africa, and we get the opportunity to engage the public in a conversation like this. So thank you very much, and happy New Year. And we hope to have a Turkish restaurant in Rwanda sometime soon. Food diplomacy.
Hopefully. Inshallah, Yani. I promise.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much.
I thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And I wish you all the success in the new year to everybody joining this conversation. And hope to meet you soon. Again, Yannick, take good care.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and stay safe. Let's survive COVID. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ambassador.